Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel Chemistry and Biology Concepts HSTR 2022-23 Chemistry class first about the chapter Food and its components. Coming to food and its importance in food. Food is essential for all living organisms. Plants prepare their own food and store in their special organs as a fruit, tubers, seeds, etc. Animals and human beings depend on this stored food of a plant. Bigger animals depend on smaller animals for their food. Human beings also depend on animals for the food. Coming to the components of a food, that is nothing but the nutrients in a food. There are 7 essential components or a substance will be there in the food that we call it as a nutrients. That nutrients are carbohydrates, fats, protein, mineral salts, vitamins, water and the roughages. Detailed study we are going to learn about this concept. Then there are mainly two types of nutrients, that is macronutrient and the micronutrient. Before that you have learnt about this now, about the carbohydrates, fats, proteins and minerals, vitamins, water and roughages. In these carbohydrates, fats and protein comes under the macronutrients. What is macronutrient then? That means nutrients that are required by our body in a large amount and forms the main bulk of our diet. These we call it as a macronutrient. So example for that, carbohydrates, fats and the proteins are the macronutrients. Coming to the detailed study about these kind of macronutrients, in that first one, carbohydrates. So carbohydrates commonly called as a saccharides or a sugar. So these carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. It is linked with the glycosidic bond. So these carbohydrates are linked with the glycosidic bond. Food rich in carbohydrates are potato, sweet potato, bread, rice, wheat, honey, common sugar, jaggery and milk. Most processed food like pizza, burger, jams, jellies and noodles are rich in carbohydrates. Coming to the types of carbohydrates, depending upon the saccharides or a sugar unit, the carbohydrates are classified into 3 main types. Those are, we call it as a monosaccharide. Monosaccharides means it's a simple sugar containing single saccharide unit or sugar unit. Example is glucose, galactose and fructose, all are hexose. They are actually the glucose, fructose, galactose, the structure I have given here, they are having the same chemical formula, that is C6H12 and O6. This chemical formula is similar for all the 3 types of monosaccharides, that is glucose, fructose and galactose. So these structural isomers, meaning they are having a same chemical formula but a different arrangement of atoms. Atoms arrangement will be very different when compared to one and other, but it is having the same chemical formula C6H12 and O6. This is about a monosaccharide. Next, coming to the types of another one type of a carbohydrate, that is oligosaccharide. Oligosaccharide means it has 2 to 10 saccharide or sugar units. That means monosaccharide having only single sugar unit. Oligosaccharide means it is having more than 2 saccharide units, nothing but the sugar units. Example for these oligosaccharides are hemicellulose, cellulose. These hemicellulose and cellulose are the wall material that present on the cell wall of a plant cell. So this is the structural formula of cellulose, hemicellulose. Cellulose C6H10O5 overall N, and hemicellulose having C5H8O4 overall M. So this is the wall material that present in the cell wall of a plant. Yes, coming to the another one type of carbohydrate, that is about polysaccharide. The name itself suggesting polysaccharide, that means saccharide units having more than 10 saccharide units you are going to get in the polysaccharide. Understanding? So here the examples I have given, starch C6H10O5 overall N and glycogen C24H42O21. So this is about the starch and glycogen. Here I have given the chemical structure, how you have to write this one. This is a simple starch and this one is the glycogen. Human liver stores about 100 grams of glucose as a glycogen. Here stored food material is In the plant it is starch, and stored food material in human we call it as a glycogen. So that means the human liver stores about 100 grams of glucose as a glycogen unit. That is a stored food material in human being. Nothing but animals. Skeletal muscle stores about 400 grams of glucose as a glycogen. So skeletal muscles also stores these kind of glucose and convert it into glycogen. So 400 grams of glucose will be there. Understanding? So this is about the types of carbohydrates. In the previous slide, we have learnt about the carbohydrates and types of carbohydrates, that is oligosaccharide, polysaccharide as well as a monosaccharide, along with the examples for each saccharides. Now we are going to study about the concept is protein. Proteins means these are the building blocks, that is body building food we are say it. These proteins helps in the body in its growth and repair of body cells and tissues, protect and help the body to fight against the infection and regulate the body functions. These are the main function of proteins. It is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen along with nitrogen. The carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but protein extra one is that is nitrogen. There are mainly 20 different types of amino acids are there. In that amino acids, those amino acids are linked one by one with the peptide bonds. Those carbohydrates are linked with the glycosidic bond, but proteins are linked with the peptide bonds. So types of amino acids, you can learn about the types of amino acid. There are mainly two types, that is essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids means it is required for the human, but it does not produced in the human body. It is actually required one, but it does not prepared in the human body. That's why we call it as a essential amino acids. Example for that is lysine and valine. Non-essential amino acids, these are prepared or synthesized in our body, but it is not necessary for our normal functioning. Understanding? So this is the non-essential amino acids. Example for this one is proline and serine. So overall example for proteins we can conclude here. Examples of protein, that is protein sources of plant origin include pulses, soya bean, pea, and to a lesser extent cereals, millets, eggs, cheese, milk, fish, and provide proteins of animal origin. So these meat, eggs, cheese, milk and fish provides proteins. These are animal origin. This is originated from the animal. We are getting these kind of protein from the animals, and these I have mentioned here no about the pulses, soya bean and peas. These are available with the help of a plant source. Understanding? So this is about the protein. So mainly these proteins are classified into simple protein, conjugated protein. So there are mainly two types of protein, that is simple protein and the conjugated protein. Simple protein means the simple protein made up of only amino acids, we call it as a simple protein. If a protein is made up of only amino acids means that we'll call it as a simple protein. Example for this is albumin, albumin, globin. Albumin you can get from the egg. Globin in the human blood you are going to get a simple protein called globin, hemoglobin. That is the heme combines with the globin to form a hemoglobin. That is a blood that present in the human body. Understanding? So next coming to the another one type is a conjugated protein. It's a simple protein made up of essential and non-essential amino acids. If a protein is made up of only amino acids, then we call it as a simple protein. If a simple protein is made up of essential as well as non-essential amino acids, that we call it as a conjugated protein. Example for these conjugated proteins are hemoglobin and glycoprotein. So here I have given the structure of this one. Here simple protein albumin. This is the albumin structure, and the globin. This is the globin structure. And here hemoglobin that I have given here for the conjugated protein, and this one is a glycoprotein. Understanding? So this is about the types of protein. Coming to the last one type, about the macronutrients. In that carbohydrates, proteins we have learned. So next concept we are having is about the fat. Fat nothing but the lipids. It is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but it containing less oxygen than carbohydrates. As usual, we have learnt in the carbohydrate concept. These lipids are also made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but oxygen is less than when compared to less in number when compared to carbohydrates. Lipids are made up of fatty acids. Their proteins are made up of amino acids. Here the fats are made up of fatty acids and linked by ester bond. Carbohydrates linked by glycosidic bond, protein are linked by peptide bond, and the fats are linked by ester bond. Understanding? So these are also energy giving food, producing more energy than the carbohydrates. When compared to carbohydrates, these fat will produce more energy. So fat rich foods are examples I have given here. Milk products such as butter, cheese, vegetable oil such as coconut oil, groundnut oil, nuts, milk and animal fat from meat. Fat provide more than double the energy provided by the carbohydrates or protein. When compared to carbohydrates and protein, fats will give more energy. So this is also a type of another type of macronutrient. Coming to the types of lipid, there are mainly two types: simple lipid and compound lipid. Simple lipid means it is made up of only the fatty acids and glycerol. Understanding? So if the lipid is made up of fatty acid and glycerol, it is called as a simple lipid. Example for that is fats and oil. Compound lipid means these lipids combine with the other groups like alcohol and other substance. We call it as a compound lipid. Examples: lipoprotein, terpentins. Lipoprotein nothing but there you have learned no about the lipoprotein means the lipid is attached to the protein molecule in the fluid mosaic model, that is structure of a plasma membrane. There you will get a lipoprotein. Understanding? And terpentins. So these are some examples I have listed here: avocado, coconut oil, whole egg, nuts, olives, dark chocolates, cheese, chia seeds, fatty fish. So these are some examples for the lipid. So I hope you guys understood about the macronutrient concept. In the next class, we will discuss about the micronutrients along with the examples and importance of the these kind of micronutrients. Before that, we are going to learn about the test for carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. We are going to learn in the next class. So I hope you guys understood the concept very well. We will discuss remaining concept in the next coming classes. So if you have any doubts, you can comment it in the comment box. Like, comment, share and subscribe for this YouTube channel. I hope you guys understood the concept very well. Thank you for watching.